everyone. Welcome back to TC911 Beyond the Call podcast. I am your host, Abbey Dudek, Communications Coordinator here at Tarrant County 911, and this is episode 5, and I am here with our Executive Director, Sherry Decker. Sherry, thank you so much for being on our podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Minus it's a rainy day today, but
it is.
It's better than snow and ice. Rainy
and cold.
That they allegedly said we would get, but I would take the rain or anything. So, but it was definitely hard to get up and come to work today because it was so cold and rainy, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to go out there.
Definitely a snuggle day.
A snuggle day?
Yes.
Yeah, my dogs definitely were snuggling. I always get jealous of them because they get to stay in the bed, and then I have to get up and go, and they look all cozy, and then I'm like, oh, jeez. So, Sherry, your position as Executive Director, how long have you been here at the district?
I've been at the district since November 1st of 2021.
All right. So you've already had your year mark.
They decided to keep me for a while.
They did.
And I got a 2-year contract last October.
That's super. So with our Executive Director position, so, our folks at home know this. How does that work with us as Tarrant County 911 District with an Executive Director positions? Because obviously, like my position and my fellow colleagues' positions, they're not contract positions. We're full-time on. But the Executive Director position, how does that work in our district?
Well, I'm trying to put it this all. I'll pull it all together. I would say that my position is such a unique and rewarding place to be because I get to be surrounded by all these amazing professionals and just be in awe of how they get the things done that they get done. I don't necessarily in this position have to know how to do everything. I'm not on the technical side. I have a history on support services and operations for 911, but we have an amazing technical network operations team along with a support services team. We're very well-rounded. The staff here pretty much takes care of themselves, and I just get to sit back and look and be in awe of everything that they do.
Well, as one of the personnel in the operations team, thank you for that. And you are correct. We have amazing staff, and your folks at home, you're going to hear that a million times in all of our podcasts because I think one thing about having a great organization and having a great work environment is just believing in each other and supporting each other. And, our staff now definitely we just sing our praises for each other all the time of how great everyone does, and they do. Always helpful, always there anytime we need something. So I love that. It's a family. That's what I've been saying. It's a little family.
Growing up in the industry, I've always heard that there's people in 911 and there are 911 people. And this is a picture. Tarrant County 911 is totally a picture of that representation.
That's true. I like that. You should get that on a pillow or something like that.
I will crochet you a pillow.
Oh, thanks. There we go. Well, that's awesome. So thank you for going into, what your role is or what you do. You basically oversee, and it's nice also that you put it. I think a lot of people who think of leadership too, there can be some hesitation. I always think of the different quotes you get from LinkedIn and everything about, like, when you're a leader, it's not about you, it's about your staff, and you very much project that. You're very much like, you guys are the professionals, you guys do it, and that's such a nice relief. So as you grew professionally in leadership roles, what were some of the milestones that got you to have that demeanor in leadership, or that personality, I guess? I mean, I know some of it is you because you're a very sweet person, but to develop those communication skills that you have with us here at the district. You don't bombard us. You're very laid back. You're very family oriented first, to make sure that we spend time with family or take care of ourselves.
Take care of our family so we can take care of everybody else.
Yes, and that is so relaxing, I have to say, as a staff member here. It's so I actually catch myself saying, Abby, it can be done tomorrow. That's okay. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop actually at 5 o'clock.
Yes, but how long did it take you when you started not to try to grab that phone before the second ring.
Oh, I mean,
I have been known to run the hallways in the beginning after I left the center, the 911 center, running trying to grab that phone, and my director's going, Sherry, we're not in 911. We support 911. And I'm going, but I got to answer it. I got to answer that phone.
Oh, yeah. Ringing phones, once you've been a 911 dispatcher, like Sherry, you have, and we have mentioned a couple other people have in our building too, and you just have this permanent just makeup of you that it's just ringing phones, like you just can't stand it anymore. Like you can't do it. You're now wired that there'll never be a phone that'll ring past two rings.
That is true.
So going into that, you were a dispatcher. Let's talk about prior to TC911.
Prior to TC911, I'm a Tarrant County girl. Born and raised in Tarrant County. My whole life here. My whole family's here. Became a dispatcher in '79, running with some of my neighborhood moms, ran by the Dairy Queen, and there was a notice, a little cardboard notice that the police department was looking for a part-time dispatcher to work weekends, midnights on the weekend. I thought I could do that. What is that? I could do that. So I went down, talked to the city manager, and he said, can you start tomorrow night?
Wow.
Sit
that
down.
Doesn't tell you how things have changed.
So I slept all day Saturday. Went in. The lead dispatcher, so to speak, showed me 3 buttons. If you have a car fire, or auto crash, you hit this. If you got a fire, you hit this button. And if you got a house fire, you hit this button. When somebody calls you, you hit this button, and the phone was just a phone that you just picked it up. There wasn't buttons to push. It was just a phone.
Yeah.
It was red.
And was it like a bat phone?
It was just a phone that accepted 7 digits, not calls.
Yeah.
So it was just like the one in your house. Then they told me there's an inner city radio over here. You'll be by yourself at night, the only one awake in the city. And if you get in trouble, get on here and say, is anybody out there? And a deputy will come by and check on you.
Now, what city was this?
Keller.
It was Keller. Okay. Wow.
And there were, I can't tell you how many times I would be working at midnights. I was scared to death, by the way, totally terrified, because I was the only person there. And I'd have everything locked up. And if I got a call, I would call the officer at home. He'd put his uniform on, and he'd go take the call. Then he would go back home and go to bed. But that did not happen very often, because the phone just never rang. We're talking 1979, where the city closed at 5 o'clock. Even the gas station closed at 5 o'clock in that little town. And
the little town of Keller.
The little town of Keller back then. And you'd be sitting there trying to find something to do, which is how I found out about TLITs, is they had a brand new computer in there. It was still in the box. Nobody knew how to do it.
Do you want to explain to the folks at home, because I'm not sure the public knows what TLITs are?
That's the law enforcement telecommunications system, where you could run a license plate or a driver's license from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
That would be a little problematic nowadays.
And don't be expecting to get it back really soon. And criminal histories took like 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So I got to be friends with some of the other dispatchers around, Haltom City, Watauga, Southlake, Colleyville, and they had all got their new computers. So we together learned how to put this thing to use and get it set up. I don't know how we did it, because we didn't know anything about computers, but we were so bored. We were bored. So from Keller, $412 a month, I might tell you.
Wow.
So I did work 2 weekends, and I got a full-time job because someone left.
Okay.
But Haltom City paid more. And my parents lived in Haltom City, and that's where I lived at the time. So I applied there, and that's where I spent until 1984. And I married a police officer, and they wouldn't let us work together, so I went to North Richland Hills, and I retired from North Richland Hills after 20 years.
Wow.
21 years, I don't know how many months, but we could figure it out.
Wait, what year? What year did you say you retired in North Virginia?
2005.
2005.
2005 retired, and so I was a telecommunicator at North Richland Hills. I was a training officer, and then I was supervisor. And I just decided that I didn't want to be sitting behind a console, and not that I had to do it that much during the supervision years, but at 50, I needed to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. And there was an opening at North Central Texas Council of Governments 911 program, and I knew 911, so I applied and I got the job. And then I was the operations manager there. I was there, so a second retirement, retired in 2020 from NCT 911, and 18 months of bliss for retirement, and got a phone call and said, you know what, maybe I'm not ready. And the person on the other end kept saying, you're not ready, you're not ready. Every time you talk to someone that you knew from your profession, you just get lit up and like, oh my gosh, we have so much stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And so I applied, and here I am today.
Well, we're glad to have you. I think I can definitely say confidently that everyone enjoys you here.
You're sweet.
Yes, they do. And they did not pay me to say this is not a paid podcast. But no.
We'll go to lunch afterwards.
Oh, okay, great. So that's great. And so you worked at North Hills. Is it just? Oh, and then Tony, who works at the front desk now, she was at North Hills.
Tony was at Halt. She's
Is she
long-time telecommunicator. I want to say she started at Crowley. We became friends at Haltom City.
Okay.
She introduced me to my husband.
Okay.
And so she's the reason we're together. And she said, you just need to ask out that Mike Decker. He is so nice.
I could totally see her doing that. She is like one of the sweetest people.
So it's all Tony's fault. But yes, so Tony, we worked together. She went to North Hills before I did.
Oh, okay.
And then she went on to city services,
like public.
Yeah, the
public department, like the public works.
Public health.
Works,
yeah.
Oh, public health.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, they did all the audits on the restaurants and.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
So, and here she is. She retired before I did, and just like an old dispatcher.
Yeah.
We can't seem to stay out of it, so she's up at the front desk with us here.
She's so terrific, and that's so great. Yeah, so there's three of us. I was at North Hills, but I didn't go there until 2013.
You were just a baby.
13. And that's when I made the smart move and moved to Texas.
Smart girl.
So I got here as fast as I could, as they say. And then, yeah, because we were at the old PD for a while, the one off the access road on 820, and I always enjoyed the fact that the dispatchers had the parking right there with the reserve sign. Did you have a hand in any of that, or is that anybody just?
Well, I was there when that happened.
Oh, you were there when that happened?
Yes.
I thought that was really, I was like, wow, because I had worked previously at a dispatch center in Illinois, and I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive. These Texas dispatchers don't mess around. They make sure that they get rock star parking right here.
They took good care of us.
Yeah, I was really amazed by that. It was, the carpeted walls were a bit jolting.
Yes. Sound. They're supposed to help with sound.
With the exit door to go to the patrol cars being right there, when you had something major, we had a major call one day, and you just hear them like clicking that and you just hear them going all out and that thing. So I just remember how it wasn't the quietest.
I can remember we had a new council voted in, and they were giving them a tour, and the councilwoman came back and she said, oh my God, these poor kids back here, they have no light. Why do y'all do that to them? Can they not afford lighting back here? You could grow mushrooms in this office. Little did she know we liked it that way.
Yeah,
it was calming.
Yeah, you do not go into a center and turn the lights on.
No.
It's very... I think the only centers here in Tarrant County that the lights are all the way on, I think Fort Worth has their lights on a lot, but they're bigger centers too, so I can completely understand that. But the little ones, yeah, I've never seen their lights on. Usually something's up if the lights are on.
We need to have our Zen area, between calls.
Yeah. See, now I have to have my light on.
Yeah.
All the time. My office, regular Abbey atmosphere going on here. So
you do, Abby.
I do, yes. But your office is very zen. It's you have skylights here. So Sherry's office is split into two. She has a very large office, and it's got lots of nice windows, and then it's got a skylight, and then we're sitting at a little table.
At our
back
conference table, yeah.
Your conference table back here, and her desk across over there. But over in your desk area is the lights are not on, the fluorescents are off, and your little lamp is on.
It is.
And it always smells nice in here, and it's always warm.
It is.
It's very welcoming. So
very
that's
controlled.
Good. That's awesome.
A controlled area.
So what are some of so you've been here a year. What are some of the goals that you set for yourself when you started, and how have those evolved in this past year that you've seen? And then what are some of the things that you would like to see change, or maybe some learning experiences you would like to go through, or maybe you want to dive into the technology? Or maybe not.
I do love servant leadership, and my first year I wanted to focus my first 30 days on being a student and just sitting back and seeing what's happening here. And my second 30 days, I wanted to start being a partner and finding out what it is that you need and how can I play a part in that. And then the last 30 days, I wanted to actually start getting involved. I didn't want to go anywhere as far. I know that I lost 18 months of information and growth in 911, but I didn't want to go to conferences my first year because I wanted to take care of us. I really feel firmly that our foundation is the most important thing, and we're all at different levels in that foundation. And what part can I play to make you, or to help you to reach your goals? I remember the first time I ever got promoted, someone said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you got 14 people that get to brown nose or take care of you." And I was like, really? I just have 14 new supervisors that I have to please, not the other way around, because that's why I'm in this position, is to help move us forward in the future and see what those obstacles are. What can we do to mitigate them? I love failing forward. I believe that experiential failure is the best, and I don't necessarily want to call it failure, because there's the challenge of it all is bigger growth than anything else. What would we do differently? And those are two of my mottos. Is if we had the opportunity to do this exact situation over again, what would we do differently? And what part did I play in this?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think of my career here, and I've had a lot of, I call them like teachable learning moments.
Oh, definitely.
And I wouldn't call them failures. I mean, there's things that I've tried and didn't work out, but you evolve from it, and you're like, okay, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to try this. Or maybe this wasn't a good idea, or actually that worked, so I'm going to do this next time. So it's, failures are just stepping stones to successes, is what I feel. So yeah, your motto on that is spot on in my book with everything, because that's how you grow, and then that's how you can also brainstorm, or me, creative thinking, and what I can do to get out there. And on the employee point of view, is when you have a leader with the mottos that you have, where you're learning from us, you just want to make sure that that it's almost like you want to make sure that we know that that you're here to be like, I want you to reach your goals. I want you to, what are your goals here at the district? Do you want to climb the ladder? Do you want to stay where you're at? What do you want to do? And so as an employee, that is so healthy for like morale. And then your own personal, like me personally, it just feels like okay, it's my pace, it's my choice, and then when you're ready, I mean, because you're really fair across the board. As long as there's a game plan and, like A plus B equals C.
Exactly.
And then how you got that answer, and you can show it, like, it's not that hard. I mean, there's plenty of times now that I've learned how to do more research and analytics to be like, okay, well, this is what I have. This is why I need this, and that's a great trait to build off that too, which then gives us more, myself, because I know that I learned a lot since you've come on and doing how to do different things and how to conduct business differently, which I thought was very helpful. It was a change at first, but I was like, okay, I know after a while it'll be like riding a bike.
You're talking about project charters, aren't you?
Project charters and
plans and goals.
What was the other one? There was something else. Just think how we changed different procedures and stuff.
That's true. But the fact is, my job is to make sure that y'all are ready and prepared for the future. Not my future. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the district's future. Yeah. And the more that y'all learn and the more that you become more professional, that's only going to make the district better.
Yeah. And I like it because
it's not about me, it's about y'all.
See, there she goes again. Not about her, about us, which I love because it helps strengthen my confidence on what I'm doing too. Because I do so much, and I'm one person show, and so a lot of times now that we do the project charters, and I go back and I look and I'm like, wow, I did all that? Because before, I wouldn't write it down. You just did it. You just did all your stuff, and which I had no problem. But now we're, tracking it, which is good because then you can go back and be like, oh, I did do this on this date, mm-hmm. and this is where my success plan was, and my strategic planning and everything like that. And I really like it because then it reminds me of, like, sometimes you feel like, man, did I do enough? And then you look back like, oh yeah, I did. I did way more than I expected to do. So I really enjoy that. Good deal. So what is the difference on being here versus, because when you were at NCT, they're now a district, but they were a COG.
Long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is the difference between the COG and Tarrant County 911 district, or a district office in general?
Well, the majority of the time that I was at NCT COG 911, the COG program, the COG, of course, was under the state, and they were giving their funds every 2 years. So you had to go in every 2 years, plan out 2 years, find out how much money that was going to cost, and then you would ask for this much in your budget. So it was controlled at a different level. And us being here, we get our funds directly from the carriers. So we don't have a pass-through person. We can plan. We can plan for 5 years down the road. So I wasn't used to that. Mm-hmm. I was used to, here's your chunk of money. You have to use it in this time or you give it back. Yeah. That's just the structure of the state program. So, that was totally different.
Yeah. And when you say carriers, just for the folks at home, the cell phone carriers that, AT&T, Verizon, all that, where we get the 50 cents from the cell phones.
Yes. So that was from a funding standpoint, that was totally different. And we're a healthy district. We are. We're able to find what challenges we have other venues to make sure that anybody can reach 911. We're all about that. We never want to see a call missed, and we are able to stay up with technology and embrace that and look towards the future. We can plan. And so that is huge that we're able to plan, and that is not something that I was used to. I was used to, you get the money, you got to spend it, and then you get the money again. Mm-hmm. So that's different, but I gotta say, I think coming from the PSAB, learning 26 years of being at the console, taught, of course, a great work ethic, a great teamwork, because you relied on all your people, great nurturing for new people. When I first got into the business, it was kind of like throw them to the wolves. you can learn it. And I did. We grew up with 911. And then when I went to NCT 911, that's when the leadership and the mentoring, and because now we are on that administrative side, and so what can we do to help our stakeholders and the 911 centers? What can we do for them? How can we make their job better? They are now our customers. They're the people that we serve. And so that's always been huge with me, because when you're in it, you think, who's taking care of me, or who's oversight, who has our back. And so I love that we want to be that entity, and that they know that we have their back. Mm-hmm. And that everything that we do, every piece of equipment or technology that comes out, our first thing is, how is it going to affect them? Mm-hmm. Is this going to make their job easier? Is this going to make their job harder? Is it just a learning curve, but it's going to be easier later? There's so many levels of this onion that we try to peel back. It's not just about, this is great technology, we got to have it. We've got to look at what it's going to do to the people that are out there using it every day. Mm-hmm. And can it save a life?
Yeah.
And whatever that is, we will try to make sure that happens.
Yeah. I love working here and what we do and what we provide for not only the dispatch centers, but out in the community with, public education and that education not being, call if you can, text if you can, or only call in emergencies, but, learning, like this podcast is learning about our staff first as we start off, and, mm-hmm. and knowing all of the great talented people that work here, but that education of what we do here at the district, because a lot of people, like, I'll be out and they'll be like, wait, are you a dispatcher? Because they see our logo, and I'm like, no, I'm not a dispatcher. I actually work at the administration office. I always say we're just kind of like, we're the emergency assistants. We help all of the 911 centers in our district. So all of the call centers here in Tarrant County, and I said we basically make sure 911 is functioning properly here in Tarrant County, and texting. So, and especially too, a lot of citizens are always shocked, because they're like, oh, we thought the cities were mm-hmm. in charge of that. We thought the cities put text to 911 out. We thought they did that. Right. No, we do that. We do all that. We put all the equipment in, and we make those lines work and stuff. And
I think our name is misleading. And I think you deal with that more than any of us do. Because whenever I'm dealing with 911 professionals, they all know. But you're out there dealing with the public. Yeah. Because we went to a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and they said, Sherry, what are you doing? I heard you got a job. Where are you at? I said, I'm at Tarrant County 911 District. Man, we get teletaps for them all the time, and they don't come to us. They're supposed to go to somebody. I said, wait a minute.
Not the county.
How can I verbalize this, that we are not the county? Maybe I should say I work for the 911 Emergency Assistance District.
Yes.
I don't know, but
I think
it is confusing.
I think that's actually what we're labeled as.
But we're not Tarrant County 911. That is a 911 center.
Yeah.
And that is not us. But it is hard to, and I guess all the other counties in the state have the same issue. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, depending on their
like
district.
Travis County 911, is there such a thing? Or Cameron County 911. There is
the
such
district.
a thing.
Yeah, that's why every time I do different, like when I do radio commercials or something like that, or TV commercials, I always make sure, hey, can you say district at the end?
Exactly.
Make sure that's in there, because people do think that, oh, you work for the county.
They don't know.
No, I don't.
They don't know what we do.
And so I simply just say, we're the emergency assistants. We're the people that make it work.
That's why we have you, Abby, to educate the public of the great job that our team does.
I know they do, and I think some of it too. And they're like, oh wait, so you're with the county? No. You're a police department? No. And then then they're out of options. And then I'm just like, we are our own entity. I always say my paycheck says Tarrant County 911 District, and it does not have the county seal on it. So because that's
Good point.
The best way of putting it. We are not a county sealed organizations. We're us. That's it. We are a lone reed out there. So that's what we do. But yeah, it sometimes, and especially when I take on interns, and my new intern, he was just telling me, he's like, I'm trying to explain people what they think I'm going into a police department. Mm-hmm. So, or people think there's police officers here, dispatchers here, and it's like, no, there are no call centers here. There are no dispatchers. There's ex-dispatchers here, past dispatchers, but not current headset wearing.
And retired dispatchers.
Retired dispatchers, yes, that are in here.
We do have several on staff.
Yeah, how many? Okay, you,
I don't know.
Me, Chantel, Sophia, Elena, Yvonne, Levi, Sarah, Caitlin. I think that's it. 9. Danny. 10 out of 27. So, but yeah, it's a lot different transitioning. And I've talked to the other staff members on this about transitioning from the dispatch world and going into office world.
It's hard.
Admin office world where it's you banker's hours. It's 8 to 5 and you get the weekends off, except for if you have my job. Then you don't always guarantee to get the weekends off. But I choose that. That's my choice to do that because that's the best time to reach the public is out there. So.
And that just speaks for not only dedication to the profession, but to what you do, believing in what you do.
Yeah, and it's easy, and that
it's
goes.
It's not like a job.
You know what? It's not a job.
It is not like a job.
It is not a job.
It's so much fun.
I tell everyone. I tell my family and my friends. I'm like, I love my job. I don't even look at it as a job. It's like a hobby. You know, like if you were to get up and paint every morning or something like that.
It's like we get to pay it forward all the time.
Yeah, and then you have fun, and then I think it just kind of rubs off on other people, or hopefully, where it's like, wow, your job is great. Because I always tell people, I'm like, I'm retiring here. Like that's it. This is it. This is done. You know, so because it's just, you know, especially nowadays, you know, we're pretty secure here. We're taken care of well here, and then we reciprocate that by doing, you know, we feel that love and that care, and then your employees do great work, and everyone here does great work, and then boom, now you're stuck with us for 20, 30 years.
True. That's okay. We'll keep it.
And that's, good. Yeah, because you finally got your Abbey.
I did finally get my Abbey.
Do you want to tell everyone the story?
We were over at NCT 911 and at their Arlington office, and we were having a committee meeting. I don't know. It might have been a tag team meeting. I have no idea.
I think it was
Together
a committee.
Accomplishing Goals for Public Education. But Abbey was in the meeting, and I want to say it was the first time I met her. I'd heard about this bomb shell that had whirled into Tarrant County 911 and was changing the world.
Is that really what people say?
Here she is, and I get to meet her, and she, in conversation, because, you know, we're all collaborating and brainstorming, and I just remember after it that I went up and said, one day I'm going to have my Abbey. That passion, that initiative, that drive, and so mission focused. She was just, you know, she has a light behind her. And she just looked at me and like who is this woman?
Well, I'm like, what? Because I never had, I don't really, it's interesting, like, for doing this job. I mean, I'll just kind of be transparent. I
manifested it, and it's here.
You did.
I have my Abbey.
Yeah, you did. And the thing is when I do my work, I really don't think about all of that. I just like, what's best for the public? What are they going to understand? How is this going to look for them? Are they going to be able to, you know, understand that? I mean, I'm always putting the public first on what I feel that they need to know, which is pretty much everything, because that's where is their service. And so when I do things, you know, half the time I'm really hard on myself, and I think like, oh, this isn't enough, or I need to do more, or I need to work on this more, or something. So when I have this lady saying that, I'm like, what? Is she
talking about me?
I'm like, who says that? What? No one does that. But then but the thing is, it's true. When Sherry got hired here, I have actually never forgot that. And that was in 2008. That was like spring of 2018.
Yeah.
And I had never forgotten that, and I held tight to that for a long time, and it helped me through a lot of things, because it's just one of those things that I don't really get, you know, I don't really fish for compliments, and I don't always wait for hearing. I just do my job. So when something
during those times when you questioned yourself,
yes.
So
when you get something like that, it's almost like a lightning in a bottle, and then you just keep it. So I'm one of those people. I'm like selfish. Like I only need to hear it once, and then I'm good for like 5-6 years. So you don't have to compliment me again until another, like, you know.
And I get my energy when other people compliment our staff.
Oh yeah, it's nice hearing. I love it when people tell me about their 911 stories when I go out in the public.
Fun.
And when I was at the Kroger doing the rodeo ticket hit stuff at the radio station, they actually had to call 911 when I was there. It was actually kind of ironic. It was at the one of the Krogers, and I pull up front so I can unload all my stuff. And I saw someone was needing some medical attention, and I saw this staff member on the phone, and I go, oh man, I bet you they're on the phone with 911. So they're looking at my car like, whoa, that's some impressive response time. And that's what I was scared of. So those that don't know what my car looks like, it's very noticeable, and it has 911 all over it.
It's screaming.
Yeah, it's very colorful, very kid friendly. Has cell phone Sally all over it. And I pulled up, and then I just kind of made this notion with my hand, like no, because she was kind of looking, and then she just turned, and I went to go unload, and I come back, and realizing, oh gosh, I didn't even think. I knew that probably MedStar was going to come. But I forgot about the fire department coming, which I was like up front. And so I come out, and the fire truck is like immediately behind me. And then I come walking out, and one of the guys were like, did you call 911? Are you guys doing a 911 thing? They thought it was part of the event. Like they thought it was a whole thing. But the gal that called 911 actually came over and wanted to compliment this would have been a Fort Worth dispatcher or the call from Fort Worth on how well that they handled it and transferred it to MedStar and how well MedStar did and everything. So I love hearing that, and we get them a lot. And a lot of times the public puts the 911, they put 911 dispatchers on a pedestal, which they should. That's where 911 belongs. And I always tell the dispatchers that. I'm like, when you're having your worst day, or, it's just really tough, or, you're having a hard time in the comm center or something, always remember that you do something that a lot of people can't do. Not meaning that everybody can do everything, but some people just don't want to have that. It's a lot to take on. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of multitasking. And I said, but the public, I get to hear what they think about all of you guys, which is like, oh my gosh, those men and women do so great. Oh, they're
amazing.
They're underappreciated. They don't get enough kudos. And they just, put them on this pedestal. And I like to remind the dispatchers that when I'm out, I'm always like, hey, I'm trying to tell you that these wonderful people in the community, they have you. They have your back. They know you're there. Okay, and I know it doesn't seem like that all the time. I get it. I used to do it. I'm sure you get it. You did it. But they do. The Tarrant County community in all of our cities, I've heard it several times throughout.
Then we're doing our job.
Yeah, then we're doing our job. So, and I like that bridge that better bridge and camaraderie and relationships that we have with all of our public safety answering points and managers and dispatchers, and I love that comfortableness. They just kind of come here and they're like, oh yeah, we're at the district, and they actually, knowing everyone that works here. Because when I went to training, when I went to a class here, I didn't know what the district was. Right. I was like, oh, we came here for classes, and I don't know who these people are. Did you come here for classes? Mm-hmm. Did you know
I didn't have a clue.
Had no clue? Yeah, I remember when because they did the Christmas decoration contest for a while prior to me coming here, and
I would have loved to have been educated about what the district. I didn't even know what NCT did, the North Central Texas Council of Governments. I had no clue. I had no clue of all the things it did, and that's when I started looking. Oh my gosh, why are these people giving us attention?
Yeah,
and why don't I know about this?
Yeah, and it's now that. When I came here, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is pretty much like the brains behind everything. I mean, this is all where the technology starts. Because that was our main gig, was the technology side of it, was to cut into the 911 system and then help, facilitate that and everything. And then training came along, and then somewhere down the line, public education come along and everything. So yeah, it's just amazing everything that the district does to help and then alleviate money that the cities have to spend or don't have to spend on that, and that we cover. So yeah, it was a very educational experience when I came here. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm still learning every day, no matter what.
We both are.
Yes,
I have learned so much from y'all. On the outside looking in, you just don't realize everything that it takes to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
And while I may not know what everybody does as far as their technical ability and their professional ability and the schooling that they've had to go to be able to do what it is they do it very well.
Well, thank you. I went to school to color.
To color.
Yeah, so totally nailed it.
I always wanted to be a housewife when I was growing up. That was my goal, was to be a housewife, be a mom and a housewife, and I've not ever done it.
No, I know. When I was little, I think the first major thing, I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
I don't think you're tall enough,
No,
Abby.
I don't think so. No, I'm only 5'8". I'm not tall enough because I love basketball and I loved.
But you could jump high. I've not seen.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe if there's a snake.
We're gonna see later.
Or something. Well, don't go put a snake in my office or something. That's the only time you're gonna be able to see me jump. But I'm from Illinois, and so the Michael Jordan era in the early 90s with the three-peat and stuff, I was a huge fan.
Fun.
And I was determined to do that. Clearly, I am not playing for a basketball team, but it's interesting what we all dreamt of and then where we're at today. But I am very content where I'm at. So
good.
Well, thank you, Sherry, so much for your time today. I hope you had a good time.
You're welcome.
Wasn't scary at all.
I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Oh yeah, I am too. It'll be a great time. I know we're gonna have fun. We're all gonna learn something, and we're all gonna have each other.
Y'all slide by anytime.
Slide by anytime. Well, thanks again for being on the podcast, and thank you everyone for listening today. And be sure to join us next week for a whole new episode. And I hope that you have a fabulous week.